doing extremely well. Today is the 2nd of April, Thursday, the 2nd of April. Look, the week is going fast. This month is going to go fast. We're going to be back before we know what's happening. And look, I'm just going to get straight into it now. Cole Palmer, look, Chelsea have just been absolutely they're going to get slapped. They've posted the biggest, I think, Premier League loss. I think they've posted their biggest Premier League loss of £232 million, £262 million loss. Absolutely huge. Scott is in the house. But look, make no mistake. Make no mistake. Chelsea are going to have to sell players. And Cole Palmer's going to have to be absolutely all over the top of that list. Now, earlier in the week, look, people have been talking about the Cole Palmer stuff, right? People have been talking about Cole Palmer in terms of, and I've criticised that completely, and I'm still gonna criticise that, because until today, until the announcement today, Cole Palmer was pie in the sky. It was a case of this player was going to be unhappy, and as I say, whenever any news breaks or whenever I think anything does break, I will come on here and I will give you my opinion, and I don't do extremities on this channel. Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. I don't do extremities. So the last couple of weeks, by pure chance, and this happens by pure chance, from Kuwait. Welcome, my friend, and I hope you're doing well, and I do hope that you're safe. By pure chance, we talk about, or people talk about, the transfer window, right? They talk about different sorts of players. Now, Cole Palmer has come out and people know that he's not happy. They put 2 and 2 together and they make 6, right? But what has actually happened? My name is Fayaz. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, my friend. Now, people tend to put 2 and 2 together. Now, what they've done this week, or what they've done over the last week, is, and they will claim this, and they will absolutely claim this. Until today, Cole Palmer was not going to happen. Okay, the guy, whether or not the guy is happy or sad, he's just signed a 7-year deal. Okay, Cole Palmer, as of today, look, as of today, not yesterday, not the day before, when people have been talking about the Cole Palmer stuff. As of today, Cole Palmer has to be on. Cole Palmer has to be on today. Look, Chelsea have just been hit with the 200, and somebody correct me, £232 million, or they've got £232 million loss. Cole Palmer today has to be on. If I was United today, I would be getting on that phone and I would be absolutely offering half price. Yesterday, 150 million, easy all day long. Today, Palmer now has to be in the region of 70 to 90 million pounds, and I think that you absolutely have to go to do that deal. So if anybody doesn't know, if you've not seen it, and look, I've got to give you context here and explain. Like, I have criticised talking about this player, the signing, because it wasn't possible. £150 million. Today has completely changed the rhetoric. Chelsea are in trouble. Chelsea are in trouble majorly. And as of today, not yesterday, today, Chelsea are struggling. And Cole Palmer is gettable. I wouldn't even wait. If I was this club, I would go and get it done. Just arrived here. I have lots of respect for United because I remember the old days from 2006 onwards. Outstanding team. So much hate for Arsenal. Look, welcome to the show. I'm just going to grab my mouse. Welcome to the show, my friend. Look, 2006. You're a baby. No, mate. I mean, for me, the good old days. I mean, I go back to 1988. So for me, I was very, very fortunate, very, very, very lucky that the good old days for me are like like 1988. Very, very fortunate. But look, I am glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you do support the club. Yeah, I know, but I wasn't born until '88. Look, mate, I promise you, it's not I'm not having a go at you, my friend. Look, no problem at all, my friend. I'm glad you're here. I mean, I was born in 1983, so shows you how old I am. So what we're saying, Corrupt Blue says the only reason why there is so much hate for Arsenal is because of their fans. I agree with you. I agree with you. I don't even think it's their fans. I think it's AFTV. I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't care. AFTV. I think it's all down to that. I think it's all down to some of their fans. Like Arsenal, I think Arsenal as a club, I think what they've done behind the scenes, I think is fantastic. I think we could learn a lot. It's just sadly, I do think that you're right. Some of those fans. But look, Scott says De Zerbi's going to get relegated with Spurs. It wouldn't surprise me. 92, 93. Yeah, I am 1980. 83, so I'm older than you guys. So look, Chelsea, look, let's get into this. Second thing to say, look, I'm JB. I am JB. This is a United Devil channel. Get into the best community on this platform. Look, be respectful to the community, to me, to yourselves. Otherwise, the banner hammer comes out. We don't like doing it. Scott does. But stop the crap, JB. He was born in 1945, says Scott. Thank you, buddy. And look, second of all, get in your chats, get in your comments. I read out your comments. It doesn't cost you anything for me to read out your chats. I will read them out and we will go through the stuff. Sally says, De Zerbi just wants to pay up. Why would they give him a 5-year contract? Does he mind managing in the Championship? 1-inch Wonder says, you don't look a day over 70. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you to say. Thank you. I appreciate that. 7-0. Shit. Come on now. 7-0. I mean, Jesus Christ. MCFC. All I'm going to say to you is 115. So I'm guessing my retort to the 7-0, I'm guessing you are a City fan, is going to be 115. So, 115. Relegation for Spurs would be a shame. I'm an Arsenal fan, but I want Wolves to crawl back. They are fighters. If Spurs go down, it's their own fault. It is. Hi, what's the new price? A few more years, JB will be a Centurion. Cheeky Scott's a cheeky little scamp he is. So look, what is the new price of Cole Palmer? Well, I'm going to leave that to you. I'm going to give you the update. Again, I'll go through it. I'll give you the update. And I'll tell you, if we don't do this, it tells you everything that you need to know about this club. Look, Chelsea have just posted a loss of £262 million. That is beyond PSR. That is horrific for Chelsea. That is absolutely ridiculous. They can't sell the women's team anymore. They've got nothing left to sell, nothing left to do. They need to break even. Collab. Look, I would do it. I would collab with the man himself, but I very much doubt that he would give me the time of day. I'd be very, very interested to have a debate with Mark Goldbridge. Not that he's going to give me the time of day. Look, I would do it because I think it's important. I would do, mate, but it's not as simple as that. It's not as simple as that. I doubt that Mark would enjoy spending any amount of time with me on my opinions. Goldbridge, no, I wouldn't worry about. They have so many good players that they can sell for exorbitant. But look, I don't think it is. Yeah, but it's not a fine. it's not a fine. What you've got to realise is this. And again, what this is what fans don't seem to realise, and we explain it on here all of the time. And I will go into this again. We explain it at our club, and I've explained this about PSR and the UEFA squad cap rule. Okay, Chelsea, whether or not Chelsea have billions of pounds, that gap has now been closed. Okay, it is not about a fine. Chelsea have posted a loss of £262 million. They're going to have to sell players. They've got no choice but to sell players, or they're going to keep on being slapped with fines. They're going to keep on being slapped. Look, this isn't just about fines, by the way. This is about they're going to have to sort out that loss, £232 million loss. This is not something that they can now just plug back into the club. Those loopholes have now been closed. They're going to have to sell players. And you're saying there, that they've got so many good players. UEFA squad cap messes them. But what you've got to understand, here is UEFA squad cap rules. Yes, they can sell players, but that money doesn't just get added on to what they can spend. That money will help amortization. That money didn't just look. They can go and sell those players, okay? But that amortization, they're going to have to get the amortization figured down, and the only way that they can is to sell those stars. And look, Cole Palmer, as much as people will not like to hear this, Chelsea. If I was Chelsea, I would go. He is the one that will solve a lot of their issues. No, this isn't just a case of that they can go. Look, if you now think that the world of football now knows that Chelsea, the issues that they're in, if they're going to go and give them £50 million for a crappy player, that is not going to happen. People know the state that they're in. Chelsea are now going to have to take... Karma is a bitch, right? Chelsea are now going to have to take karma back, because this is now going to really impact Chelsea. It says that's true. They'd use the transfer to balance their books. When the TV will kick in, that's additional 100 for that. But look, but what you've got to get is this. This is in addition to the TV money they have made. So you need to bear this in mind. You need to bear these factors in mind, right? They went to the Club World Cup, Europe, the Club World Cup, finished reasonably high in the Premier League last season. They've got 40,000 at their ground, and yet they still have made £262 million. How are they going to make up that loss? Because they're going to have to make up that loss. Chelsea being in the red is what we are going on about for Cole Palmer. I'm afraid we wouldn't get him, especially at the price we think we'd pay for him. Remember, we have an incompetent board, plus their club winning the World Cup is not accounted for. Mate, it's all accounted for, mate. They have posted a £262 million loss. I don't seem to think it sinks in. That is an absolute horrific loss. It is an horrific loss. It is ridiculously bad. We're talking about their look. Chelsea being in the red. Look, Chelsea are going to have to sell players. This is prime example. This is perfect example for me. Perfect example whereby we absolutely have to go in and make an offer for Palmer. Look, whether or not, right, this is the position. This is the position that I would expect this club to be in now. Hearing this news, I would be going down there today. There is no way at this point in time, as Scott said there, look, Enzo, they could sell an Enzo, right? That is going to reduce amortization. But what is fundamental that people are seemingly missing out here on the financial aspect of this. Yes, you can go and sell Enzo. Let's just say he's going to cost you 100 million, right, to buy. It's amortization on Chelsea's figures, whereby if they don't reduce that with this loss, for our club and for this show, I have created something. But what people don't seem to get here, the biggest point of this, the biggest, absolute biggest, massive, huge, biggest deal here is the UEFA squad cap rule. If Chelsea do not sort this out, they will not be able to spend cash. Let me go back through here what we're saying. United Stand have 3 shows a day. Logically, half of them will be clickbait or repetitive, especially if there is no news. United, I mean, look, Sully, I mean, on that, all I'm going to say to that is you don't have to put up 3 shows a day. Look, it's not for me to, but my comment to that is you don't need to put out 3 shows a day. You put out 3 shows a day because that's how they make their money. There is no requirement to say you have to put out 3 shows a day. I've stopped putting out 2 shows a day because there's nothing for me to talk about. Like, there is, but if I was to come out with the same stuff every single day, that's why I've stopped doing the shows, is because I get bored of it. United pure saucy. I don't see how, mate. I don't really see how, buddy. I don't see how. Yes, it's bad, but there seems to be no worry in the media. Palmer with 100-year contract. Have a little look. Imagine Cristiano was your best player, can't compare to the likes of Salah and King. Imagine Ronaldo was your best player, can't compare to the likes of Salah and King Kenny. Saucy Salsa. I think you're. I don't know what you're smoking, mate. I don't know what you're. Don't quite know what you're eating today, but yeah. Look, mate. People are gonna have their opinions on their players. Look, people are gonna have their opinions on players, and if those 2 are your goats, then it's not for me to argue with you. I don't agree, but let's have a look. Let's have a look. The amortization is going to wreck them yearly, so they'd have to sell annually to balance their books. Exactly. Hello, everyone says Alfie. Hello, buddy. Yo, I'm new, says CR7 fan. Hello, my friend. Have a look. Yeah, I'll leave you to that. So look, where are we today? Look, let's go through it, and look, you give me your opinions on this. As well, but look, as of today, and again, for those of you who have joined, I'm going to give you context. I'm going to give you look. I don't just do this, right? For me to do this show today, I've criticised this week, and if you go back, other channels, and I'm not digging at them, but I'm going to give them credit a little bit here. They went on the Cole Palmer stuff, right? Now, when they were talking about the Cole Palmer stuff, and I had a pop of them this week, and I think correctly so, they were talking about Cole Palmer. He should be coming to the club, and we've done a show, can we afford him? And the answer to that is no. And this was on the basis that Cole Palmer is going to cost you £150 million. His contract, 7 years, is going to cost you 300k. And it's going to be very, very expensive. Do you know that at that point, this news was not out? The opinion based on Cole Palmer was purely based on the fact that right, I'm going to do everybody. I'm going to do everybody a massive favour, and that was all based on the fact that Cole Palmer wasn't happy. Cole Palmer wasn't happy, and United should go and spend £150 million on him. The news today has dropped that Chelsea, revenue-wise, are down £262 million loss. That is horrific. On this channel, I go on enough about the losses that we make. Okay, we made £35 million loss. We are looking roughly this year at making potentially another loss, right? That is horrific in itself. That impacts amortization. It impacts UEFA squad cap rule. Chelsea have posted a £262 million loss. It is absolutely horrific. And if you've watched the show before, Sally says, my point is, that's the game. It's on the viewers. You know what is exactly. Look, Sally, mate. People use their eyeballs, you know, and exactly. Enzo will be leaving for 102. Look, if Enzo leaves, then that's fine. That's still not gonna sort it all out. You know, today people's response are going to be people's response to this is well, you know what, they'll just sell players. They'll just sell X amount of players and they'll be okay. That's fine. They can sell players, but you can't just add it on to the revenue. So Chelsea are looking to get into the Champions League, right? It would be in their benefit after posting this loss. It would be for them not to be under UEFA squad cap. Safe to say they'll be making losses for the next 7 years. It would be beneficial for Chelsea. It would be beneficial to Chelsea this season not to finish in the top 6-7 places. I'll tell you why. Because if they do, they're going to have to fall under UEFA squad cap. Milton is in the house and says hi. The problem for them falling under UEFA squad cap rules and not the Premier League rules is this. If they were to sell, let's just say, for example, they were to sell Enzo for 100 million. The £100 million of that does not go straight on to the revenue. They can't increase the revenue by 100 million. Obviously, let's just say they make of that, let's just say they make 70 million profit. They can't add that on to the revenue to reduce that loss. They can do it if all they are is under Premier League rules, and Premier League rules say that you can spend 80% of the value, and how you then handle your sales is completely different. You can add that on to your income. You can add that on and reduce that. Under UEFA squad cap, that is not how it works. You cannot sell your players and just add that on to reduce the loss by adding it on to the profit. That is not how it works. This is horrific. This is absolutely horrific. If Chelsea, for example, they've made 232 loss, they're done. They're done. They're literally done. They're literally done. So this is monumental for Chelsea this season. This is absolutely horrific. Yes, they're going to have to sell players. But if Chelsea fans think tonight, and if people think that selling and Enzo is going to fix this. He's not going to fix it. This is going to have to be, they're going to have to sell Palmer. They're going to have to sell an Enzo. They're going to have to sell multiple players just to be conformant to both PSR, because PSR as well says basically yeah, I'll come on to that as well. But look, Cole Palmer, this deal, we look, if we are thinking about getting rid of Bruno Fernandes, which a Cole Palmer coming in would probably mean that, you've got to go to Chelsea and you've got to go to Palmer. You've got to unsettle Palmer. There is an opportunity here. Whether or not we can get this deal done between 70 to 100 million, I think it would represent a very, very good deal. As somebody has said there, do we have the people to do it? Do we have the negotiators to do it? But what is fundamental here is Chelsea are wounded. They are lying on the floor. Their wallet is open. We have got to go, and we've got to go. And if there is an opportunity to go and get a Palmer, then we have to do it. Palmer wants to come. Palmer wants to leave. This 150 million tag is just not going to hold up. Enzo, 100 million. They are not going to be paying 100 million pounds. Chelsea fans, saying, oh, we'll just sell these players. Clubs are going to know that you need money. When people knew that we had money, people would come and extortionate their prices. This is what people are now going to do with Chelsea. Chelsea are now going to have to suffer what they've done to teams for many, many years. So I worry about Chelsea. Look, I take no joy. In watching a Chelsea maybe capitulate. I take no joy in it at all. Financially mismanaged. Now, we talk about our club is bad, but look what's happened to Chelsea. I mean, could it be even worse than us? So I'm going to say this. Look, I think there is an opportunity to get him. I think there is a cut price deal that has to be done here. I wonder if United now can go and get this done. There are some things I do want to talk about as well in regards to the latest Enjoy as well from the Toffees has been spoken about today. That's just a load of bollocks, but look, we can get into that. So look, I think we absolutely have to go and try to look at this deal. We have to go to do it now. Inadvertently, channels have been talking about this all week, not about this, but just talking about the unrest of Cole Palmer. Everything is lined into place by pure luck today. Chelsea have posted this massive loss. We've got to go and get Cole Palmer. We've got to go do it. Are you discussing financing? Not at the moment. Who do you think will be out our midfield partnership next season, says Football? I think it will probably be something like Baleba, Mainu, Gomez, Kobe Mainu, Gomez. Anderson is again back on the cards. I'm going to mention it. I'm not going to go too much into it, but McDonald's or Burger King. I would say the burgers themselves, Burger King. But Maccadees, I think, has more choice. JB, the hint, Anderson dropped after the England game. 60 million would get him. Afternoon, folks. So look, there is some speculation about Kobe Mainu, Anderson. Look, people are going to take what they want from what players say. Right, people are going to take from what do I think United are in for an Anderson? Now, do I think that they are? My answer to that would be yes. Of course we are. Do I think, as Scott says, they're 60 million? No, I don't. I don't, because the reason why I don't think it will be 60 million is because you're going to have City in there. City are going to look to get this deal done, Scott. In my view, the only way this deal gets done for 60 million is if Anderson point blankly sits there and says, I'm not going to go to any other team. I'm only going to go to them. And he announces that. He would be stupid to do that. I think that's the only way. Now, also, if we're looking at figures, again, 60 million for me on an Anderson, there would have to be a clause in the contract. Now, there has been suggestions put out there by various people that there are clauses in that contract, depending on if somebody is in the Champions League. If there are clauses in that contract that means that he can go for that price, then yes. But outside of that, outside of Anderson saying he's only going to go to one club, outside of there being a clause in his contract that says that he can leave, I don't see it, mate. I don't, because there are going to be too many people involved. The moment that City are in this deal, that goes up to 70. So unless there are clauses in the contract, I'm not aware, and we will see this. I think if it is a straight bidding war and looking at prices of a Declan Rice, looking at prices of Enzo's, Boslai's, all those sorts of players, I think that Forest are going to be looking 75 to 80 million pounds. If there is a clause in that contract that gets you for that, then yes. But I think in a straight market, depending on a World Cup, I think is somewhere between 75 to 80. Carrick could to be appointed. As I said on here, look, I reached out to somebody and they gave me the heads up on that. As far as I'm aware, and as far as I've been told, Michael Carrick is going to be the coach for a number of reasons. Look, they are going to appoint him when that time comes, unless something drastic happened, and I mean, like, it would have to literally be United finish 8th. It's going to be Carrick, because whatever happened, think about this. United were 15th last season. Whether or not Carrick gets them into the Champions League, to the Europa League, Carrick is going to be given the job, because it makes sense from a financial perspective. It makes sense from a squad perspective. This club is not going to go out and is not going to sign 7 or 8 players. So it makes absolutely complete sense why they're going to announce him. Unless anything drastically bad happens, it's going to be Carrick. I'll take joy when Arsenal bottle it and 60 gets 60 points. Faith Games says, hi, hello. If we can do a matter type of deal, that Palmer would be a fantastic addition, but not the current asking price. Big up, mate. Long time no see, brother. Mate, I hope you're doing extremely well, friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. Who you think is winning the World Cup? I think it's going to be one of Spain, France. Nice sunny day in Oldham. Thank you, buddy. Work in interfering. Glad I actually made it for a change. I love it. Well, you've done that. Mohammed says, sorry. You don't need to apologise, mate. Moe's washed his. Lucky you're from Manchester and you've won a lot. Unfortunately, my Lazio's won little. Let's hope things change. Who's the best player in the history of the Premier League? I think that you could look. I think it depends. I think it really does depend on who you support. Who do I think is the best player in Premier League history? I would probably go with Scott. I think Rooney, for me, I've got to be biased. I am going to be biased. Now, I'd argue Rooney's up there, Giggsy's up there. I'd argue Henry's up there, Alan Shearer's up there. Those sorts of players. Rooney or Henry. Look, I will Rooney for me. But I've got no. If people say Henry, Henry is a fantastic player. No, no. Look, don't get this confused with me. By the way, doesn't mean to say I'm Carrick in or Carrick out. At the moment, I'm Carrick on the fence, and I would wait until the end of the season to make a decision. But this club's mind has already been made up. So let's not pretend that it's not, because it has been. So Anderson, look, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because it's been mentioned. It's been mentioned so many times. Look, are we in for him? Of course we're in for him. We should be in for these amazing plays. But as we spoke about on a couple of shows ago, is Ferguson better or Pep? Mohammed, I'm sorry, my friend. It's not even close. Mohammed, it is not even close, mate. It is not even close. My friend, it's not even close. One is a world-class coach, and look, I'm going to be fair. I am very even on this channel. There is no doubt, right? If Pep is a world-class coach, Pep is one of the best coaches, obsessive winner who demands the best of the best. There is no doubt. If I was going to give £1 billion to a particular person, I would give it to Pep, right? I think if you want to win a treble, if you want to win things, then you give the money to Pep, because Pep will build you a team, okay? Fergie is a builder of eras. Fergie is a builder of football clubs. Fergie has proven it time after time. If you look at some of those teams that United had at the very end and what he won a league with, Pep could never win a team. If you look at what Pep does when he recycles his teams, you look at the money that Pep needs to spend. Ferguson, and there's a misconception that Ferguson just literally went and did a Pep every season. That's not true. Did Ferguson spend money? Yes, he did, but it wasn't like Pep does. So it's not even a contest. But I fully respect Pep, and Pep is a world-class coach. Outside of Fergie, you could argue, but that's an argument for a different show. United need to strengthen their midfield, but with midfield and them so injury prone, United need to invest in defenders as well. I do agree with you. Rashford, not for me. I don't want him back. I don't want Rashford anywhere back near this club, sadly. But I understand people that do. I won't take Rashford back even if he wins Golden Boot at the World Cup and the top player of the tournament. I do agree. I do agree with you. So look, Anderson, the Anderson rumours are going to be rife. All I'm going to say, Nick, because I don't need to do extremities. I respect people. I respect people that are going out on a limb. I'm not prepared to do that. Anderson, are we in for this player? Yes. Tonali, I think that's done. Tonali, I think is done. I think the price is going to be too high. I think people still need to. I'm going to do another transfer, can we afford it show at some point, because I think it's really important to do that. But as of here and now, are we in for an Anderson? I think we are in. Are we seriously in for him? That is the question. Is it spin? Tonali was spin. The Tonali stuff, I think, has been used to fill it out the last 2 weeks. That Tonali stuff, I think, is done. Mohammed says, as a Liverpool legend, who is better, Gerrard or Salah? Stevie G. I think it would have to be Stevie G. I think anyway. But look, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But Stevie G, I think is all day long. So Anderson, whether or not that deal gets done, it's not Anderson or bust. It's not Anderson or that's it. I think that we are in for this deal, but whether we're in or out, it doesn't. It's not a thing. So anything else? Anyone saying Salah can't be over 20 years old? Look, I would probably say, when you're looking at legends for Liverpool, King Kenny is up there. Dalglish has to be up there. Bloody hell, Hansen has to be up there. I mean, look, any Liverpool player of that team in the 80s, the late 70s, 80s, that went through winning those European Cups. I mean, all I'm going to say to people is this: if anybody wants to know Liverpool, right? Go and watch. There's a Henderson is here, legend, my friend. Go and watch on Netflix. There's the King Kenny thing, right? Go and watch it. Even as a United fan, right? Go and watch it, because it just tells you everything you need to know about that era. Tells you everything you need to know about our clubs. Tells you, again, as a United fan, why I respect Liverpool. Go back and watch our era. So go back and watch the from the 92 season onwards. Go and watch those and watch those two teams, and it is just ridiculous. Absolutely just ridiculous. Crazy. So look, and those were back in the days where you could have like a single sub. Those were back in the days and then I think it went to 3 subs. But look, if people want to watch what it's like and the reason why I respect the clubs that I do, go, and because it was just ridiculously good. So yeah, look, yes, 100%. What was the worst match you've seen as a United fan? 7-0 defeat against Liverpool. I would probably say the Grimsby game is pretty worse. I would say the Grimsby game, Scott. I think I am with Scott. Look, Liverpool 7-0. Look, that was horrific, right? Horrifically bad, right? Embarrassing. But the Grimsby game was just probably one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. 100%. I'll let you guys argue that. I'll let you guys argue who is the best in that. So look, what other transfer news is out there today? Lewis Skelly again. Look, Lewis Skelly is obviously doing the rounds again. Look, are we going to? I will be doing a show on the youth as well, by the way, because I wanted to talk about that. We're talking about transfer window, talking about the transfers. Do we have the youth players other than a Lacey? I think Lacey's going to come in to the squad. What about somebody like an Amas, right? Now we're looking at a Lewis Skelly. I said yesterday about an Amas. Why in the hell would we want to go and give Arsenal £30 million? When we've got when we've got a kid there who's 18. Harry Amas is injured. Harry Amas was on loan at Wednesday for 22 games. Was recalled, was at Norwich for a game, and then is now injured and is probably out for a very, very long time. But do I want to strengthen Arsenal by giving them £30 million? My answer to that is simply this: fuck no. At 100% no. Do I want to give Arsenal £30 million for Lewis Skelly? No, but it is an Ineos deal to do all over the shop. So, Jay says, I was going to ask about the youth. So I'm going to do a show. I've got it lined up. Harry Amas, OB, Orozco, Leon. And I think some of those names will surprise you. You know, we do talk about those names quite a lot. I think some of those names will surprise you, and maybe my opinion on them is going to surprise you as well. But look, you know, I will be doing that show. I will try to get it in tonight. Jamie Vargas is in the house, absolute legend. Hello, JB. Is it more than likely we get Baleba instead of a Tonali? The Baleba stuff seems to have cooled off. I don't know why, but I think that has seemed to have curtailed and cooled off. Tonali is done. Tonali is not going to happen, mate. I'll give you my view. Look, there are going to be people that are still talking about this Tonali in, out, etc. Right? United put it out there via the Athletic that that we looked at him last summer. The Tonali deal now, you know, we were looking at him last summer. We would struggle financially to do the deal as well. I want to circle back to that as well. We struggle with the finances, you know, is something that we looked at last season, and the gambling thing. It's done. The fact that we let that as a club get that out there, it's done. We are not going to give the Geordies £100 million for Tonali. We're not going to give Tonali 300k a week because that is what he would want. It's not going to happen. Now, Baleba, for me, another reason why they won't is we've got to look at what the mandate from the club is. So the mandate has been there. We're not going to sign anybody over 25 million. We're going to follow the Chelsea model. If you look at the Chelsea model, which is horrific, they've just posted a £232 million loss today. The Chelsea model is not fit for purpose. And our owner and the lifelong fan of this club wants to follow the Chelsea model, and the Chelsea model's just posted a £232 million loss. Tells you everything that you need to know about the person that runs this fucking club. But that is what they want to do. So they are not going to sign Tonali. Baleba, I would still say, for me, I would sign him. I still think that I think there's a rhetoric this season on him that he's not been great. His stats are still some of the best defensive stats. Tonali is a far superior player. Of course he is. I'm not going to suggest that he's not. But I think the Baleba deal makes more sense. And I shall tell you for why. We've got to look at amortization. We've got to look at the UEFA squad cap rules. My question to you is this. Is it more likely that United would do a Tonali deal, £100 million plus 300k plus whatever the agent's fees are? So let's just say over 5 years, that's going to cost you £35 million per season. The Carlos B deal, so Brighton would want probably about 60 million. So 60 million, he's on apparently £10,000 a week, £30,000 a week. So would you rather pay £60 million plus £130,000 a week plus his agent fees over 5 years, which would probably be something like 20 million, less than that, 20 million a year. So you've got £35 million a season versus 22, 23. United are not going to do that Tonali deal. Not a chance. I'd take Skelly over. We have a price if it's apparently the price is probably going to be about 30 million. They're doing business. They're doing business. I'll take time for us to see any of it, says Henderson. Cole Palmer is not going to United. Now look, Mazam 18. whether or not he is or not, mate. Look, there is no whether. I don't know who you support. Now, if you'd have asked me the same question, and I criticised this, there is no way yesterday United could go anywhere near the Cole Palmer deal. Okay, I agree with you. The last week, the beginning of this week, I criticised anybody that was talking about potentially this deal. The reason why is their logic on doing the deal was Cole Palmer isn't happy. Okay, that is not a logical conclusion to be able to go and get a deal done. Okay, today there is a logical reason why we can go and do this deal done. Cole Palmer wants to come to United. Chelsea have just posted a £262 million loss. And look, that is horrific. There will be Chelsea fans, and don't take this in a disrespectful way. There are going to be many people that don't understand how football finance works. Now it's not a case of you sell a player and you add that money on. It reduces your cost. This is how United spin a fan base. This is how football clubs spin their fan base. They rely on you and us, me not understanding how this works. I do. £262 million loss, whether you like this or not. There is an opening for Cole Palmer to leave. Like there is a serious risk for Chelsea fans tonight to lose a big chunk of that squad. Cole Palmer would absolutely, I think they would definitely sanction a sale on Cole Palmer. So those of you yesterday, including me, that would have said Cole Palmer was never going to happen. It was going to be 150 million quid, 300k. Not today, it's not. Not a chance. Chelsea may issue a statement saying that, and look, United still may not have the money to do this deal. But the point of this is that you can go and get this deal done. Any club of any value, of any sort, would be knocking down Chelsea's door today and say, look, we know you're screwed. We know you need cash. We will give you a fair price. We will do to you what you did to us. You took, at the time, one of the best players at that age in the Premier League, and you give us 40 million, right? Don't get me wrong. Now, fantastic deal. Then, it wasn't. So what we're going to do now, we know your player is worth 130. We're going to give you 70 million. Cole Palmer, he wants to come. He's pissed off. It's going to happen. Look, if there's at any point in the last year that Cole Palmer can come to this club, it is now. It is now. It is now. Shout out my gaming channel. Well, please, would be nice. Well, if you said please, then potentially, I'll let you do that. Opinions can be wrong, and they can be. Look, our opinions can look. That is the best thing about opinion, is that sometimes people have an idea, and that idea may not be possible yesterday, but today it's possible. The Cole Palmer stuff. Cole Palmer's been unhappy for weeks. So the most logical conclusion would be to say, yeah, link him to another club. Whether that's possible or not, the most logical thing would be to link him to another club. It's now possible. So, you are right. Cold showing off United. St. Joe says it's possible that Palmer forces the move, though he does brings his integrity into doubt. Is 75 to 80. And look, St. J, I think it is. I think it is today. It is, if we are aggressive and I don't think Cole Palmer needs to do what Isak did. I don't want a player that will do that. But what Cole Palmer can do is just say, look, I want to go. Behind the scenes, just say, look, you've got me to a long-term deal. I want to go. I'm not going to necessarily try to force a move, but I want to move. So you're going to have to figure this out. So I think that Chelsea will sanction a sale because I think that they've got to. I think they have absolutely got to sanction a sale of somebody. You know, Enzo, I think, wants out. What's his name? Palmer. What's his name? Moise Caicedo, right? You know, I think they'll probably hold on to him. But, you know, if I was Real Madrid, yesterday, Enzo's price was 100 million, right? Caicedo's price yesterday was 150 million. Palmer's price was 150 million, right? But if your company, and I'm not saying that they are, if your company is about to go bust and you need to sell your stock, Enzo is no longer, he's still worth that. But Real Madrid are not going to go, do you know what? We're going to give you like 100. We're going to give you 70 million now. Like, there is no way. Yesterday, Chelsea had a very, very strong arm, very, very strong. They are now not. So I absolutely think that Cole Palmer can absolutely be got between, I think, between 75 to 90 million. Fergie and Pep were fantastic and successful. Would Wenger have qualified to take over from Fergie, Rooney, Aguero, Omri, all great players? Regardless, Dalglish, do you know his first game at Liverpool? I do. Do you think Palmer would replace Fernandes? Yes. I do. I think if you got Palmer, Bruno Fernandes leaves, and Bruno Fernandes making way for a Cole Palmer, I wonder where all those Bruno fans would be then. I think that Cole Palmer, you could sell Bruno Fernandes for 50 million, Cole Palmer for 80 to 90 million. Fernandes, look, I think that deal is there to be done. Freddie, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. I'm a Leeds fan. Not a problem, my friend. Not a problem. No to Palmer. Too expensive. Rather buy 3 elite midfielders. Now look, let me give you a scenario. Okay, I don't disagree with you on that one, but when you're saying 3 elite midfielders, right? We can't really afford 3 elite midfielders. Now, when you're saying elite midfielders, unless we sanction a sale of Bruno Fernandes, we can't afford 3 elite midfield players. We've got the numbers. I've run the numbers. We can't afford that. Now, when I say 3 elite midfield players, I'm talking about 3. You're probably talking 370, probably 3 players, £75 million and over, all of whom on between 250 and 300k a week. We can't do that. That's not going to happen. That is not no. I agree with you. 100%. 100% agree with you. I would rather get 1 elite midfielder and get another 4 players. But the only thing I am going to say is this: if you've got an opportunity to go and get, let's just say, for example, let's live in like happy land. Let's live in happy land. Let's just imagine we have the ability to go and get an Elliot. So Anderson, he comes in for 75 million, right? You've got to get him, right? And let's just say Cole Palmer comes up and they say, look, you can buy him for 80 million, right? You've got to go and get the deal done. You've got to. You know, would you rather strengthen and go and get... And look, I 100% agree with you completely. We need 2 centre-backs. We need 2 full-backs. Goalkeeper-wise, I'm not bothered. We need another striker, a left winger. Agree, completely agree. We're not doing all that. We are not doing all of that in that summer. If you can go and get 2 of the best Premier League players this season and supplement it with possibly a cheaper left winger, a cheaper left back. Look, we talk about youth, right? We need to be bringing in the youth players as well. But if we've got an opportunity, to bring in something come through the door. If we've got an opportunity to bring in senior players, then we absolutely have to do that as well. What else are we saying in here? Based on our debt, we can get 250 million midfielders. That's what we can afford. I will go through it. That's not as easy as that. It's not based on the transfer debt. To go back to what you're saying there, it's not based on the transfer debt. None of what we can afford is based on the transfer debt. It's got nothing to do with the transfer debt. So what you were saying, it's not based on the transfer debt at all. The debt itself has no impact on our UEFA squad cap headroom. It's got nothing to do with it. If you want me to explain more, I can. But our debt, the debt in terms of our ability in the transfer market, in terms of what we can actually spend, has no implications on that amount. Where the implications are, it just means that we don't physically have the cash. But our transfer debt has no impact on what our UEFA squad cap headroom is. It's got nothing to do with it at all. My midfield would be Wharton, Camavinga, and Veerman. Kevin, I like that, mate. I do. Wharton, I really like Wharton. I do, Kevin. I am the more that I look at the transfer, the more that I look more at him. I really like him. I really like him. Camavinga, that Camavinga price seems to be getting pushed higher and higher and higher. I'm not sure about Camavinga. I don't know. I like him, but I'm always suspicious of when Real Madrid want to sell a player who's that young. I'm suspicious. So Gomez for 35 million, 100% every day. That Wolves player, 35 million, yes. He says, yeah, I know we have no physical cash, is what I mean, because we have to pay our debt. Yeah, no, look, I get that. Yeah, but yeah, the ability to spend, yeah, I mean that's for another show. But yeah, I mean we are impacted by the physical ability to actually put cash down. Kevin says Veerman is the wild card, cheap from Holland, and we need some different, and yes, always when signing a Madrid player. Yeah, I think we did Veerman on the show a while back actually, but no, I Kevin, I like those, mate. I like those signings, Kevin. I absolutely do. I like the fact that I think we need an experience. I think Camavinga would be fantastic. Um, you know, I like those type of signs. I think a Wharton signing would be fantastic. You get your Camavinga signing at that price. I think Camavinga is going to cost you 70 million. I think Baleba, and it's just a personal opinion, I think Baleba for me, I think at 60 million, if that's the price, I think for me that would represent better value. But Camavinga is a Champions League playing. Is he a winner? Champions League experienced player at 23 years old. So if somebody could say to me, Camavinga, 23 years old, he's going to be fine. 70 million. Would I buy him? I think you've got to. I do. What does it irritate, confuse me, seemingly concentrating on Premier League players when there are some good value players available in the major European leagues? Yes. Larmans, I know the goalkeeping position is completely different to playing an outfield position, but if Larmans has anything to go by, go and get a Larmans, because what's he worth now? Larmans 60 million, easy. What's happening with Cole Palmer? So look, Baller Edits, look, what is happening with Cole Palmer? I'll give you what I went over at the start of the show, and then I'll tell you again. So look, this is the situation at play. Last week, people were talking about Cole Palmer coming to this club. I called it out as total shit, and I'm going to stick by that. Last week, it was total and utter bollocks. 150 million pounds was going to be the price, between 130 to 150. 300k a week. There is no way last week that United were going to do that deal. And the basis of most of the shows in that, and the basis of most of the comments on that, were based upon Cole Palmer isn't happy. I get that, right? People want this player. I get that. Today, not yesterday, the day before today, Chelsea have just posted a £232 million loss. That is horrific. Chelsea are going to have to sell players. As it happens, today that £150 million for Cole Palmer, you can slash that in half. You can slash that, because it's not going to be 150 million. It's going to be somewhere between 75 to 90. If Chelsea manage to pull something out of their arse, because they always do, then potentially. But as of here and now, Chelsea could sell Enzo, could sell Caicedo, could sell Cole Palmer, and they'd still be in the shit. So those of you who want Cole Palmer, those of you who like Palmer, it is possible today. Not yesterday, not when people were talking about it last week at 150 million pounds. Not possible. Today, at 70 to 90, possible. The reason for that as well is because if Bruno Fernandes leaves, that saves. Bruno Fernandes leaving would save such a chunk of amortization. It would be absolutely ridiculous. So you would sell Bruno Fernandes for 55 million. You would literally just replace Cole Palmer's wage with his, and you can't offset it as such, but you would be bringing in, you would have the ability to bring in a Cole Palmer and still go and get your Balebas and Anderson, a left back maybe. Camavinga injury prone, so he's no from me, even though I want him. We have a knack for one injury prone players. Do you think we will have a striker in the upcoming window? My answer to that is going to be no. No. I think that we're going to look to use Cunha. I think that is what we're going to do. I don't think we're going to get a striker. I hope I'm wrong. But the way that we seem to be going and talking about a left winger type of player, where does Cunha fit in? Even if Bruno Fernandes leaves, we will bring in a Cole Palmer. Even if Bruno Fernandes stays, one of those 10 positions, if we bring in a left winger player, I think what we're going to do is I think we're going to bring in OB. I think we'll have Shesko, and I think we'll have Cunha or Mbeumo up front. Do you think Palmer will leave Chelsea? I think this is the closest that Cole Palmer could come to leaving Chelsea. Yes, I do. I do. Camavinga injury prone, I think, saying that. Larman says easily tripled in value. I think he has. TMC just sent me 80 quid because he's not poor. What? TMC just sent me 80 quid because he's not poor. What? I'm confused. I'm confused. Imagine thinking Paul Moon 250k a week. I think I'd rather get Caicedo. Jesus. Freddie, back and forth each other is fair game. Taking a pop at the family and kids score points is out of order. I think people. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take control. I think I'm taking control. There you go. All right. I am sorting this out. Done. Sorted out. Done. Sorted it out. Done. Makes everybody easier then, and chill as well. Look, all done and chill. So look, yeah, again, whilst people around you are losing their heads, sometimes it's better to keep yours right. So look, the other update really is the Enjoy stuff. Look, this is an old story. I think we covered it on here quite a way back. I've seen outlets covering the story today. Enjoy, Everton kind of forward player. We spoke about it on here quite some time ago. Look, again, I think a lot of these stories are regurgitated from a couple of weeks ago. We spoke about it on here. Look, we are not going to go to do that deal. I don't think they would particularly want to sell. I don't think David Moyes would particularly want to sell. I think they're trying to build something there. I just think this is an old story. I think whoever is going with this today, again, it's not a criticism of people. I just think this is an old story that people have either picked up late or are kind of running with again because there literally is nothing coming. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think anyone has come out with this yet. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if more people now this afternoon start talking about the Cole Palmer stuff. I guarantee you it. I guarantee you it. I think there you go. So the deal is a space filler. Moyes hasn't gone to throw a spanner in his own works. Exactly that. When City says Manchester Blue F off United. Look, we don't mind the banter, mate. We don't mind the banter. You are welcome here. Hate useless in international breaks. I know, and I look. This is why the number of my shows has reduced, because I refuse. Look, it hits me. It hits the channel. I refuse to be part of that. The guy is persistent. Look, you know, he seems to be. But look, guys, that is really is the main thing. Funny that when I have no social media, the weapon says Scott. Imagine, Scott, someone else is. Norm says, "Come on, you Reds." I wonder if that's the same person. But look, if anything else does break, if you see anyone else, you know, start to talk about this, just remember, there's no banter that's going to get knock on that door, and I don't understand what is going on. I don't know what's going on. What time, if you do a cast this evening, so I can lock it down for once. I'm going to. I'm probably going to do one. I'm going to look to do one around about 10 o'clock tonight. I'm going to do a good old fashioned. One of my favorite shows. I'm going to do a late show. I'm going to bring back the late show, and we can just talk about, like, the good thing about the late shows is that anything goes. We will talk about Parma again. We'll talk about the youth. We'll just talk about anything that's been in the media over the last 2 weeks. I am looking forward to do a late show tonight. I will look to do one about 10 o'clock tonight, and I'm looking forward to doing a late show again. One of my favourite shows. What did I miss about Parma? I'll give you a quick update on it. So look, last week, again, to be fair, I'm always open, and I'll say this. Last week, I criticised the news last week that Cole Palmer to United was a bunch of bullshit. I will still maintain at that point in time it was. People were wanting him to come here on the basis that, you know, he was unhappy. The price last week was £150 million because that is what they saw him as being worth. Chelsea have just posted a £232 million loss. It might even be more than that. Chelsea have to sell players. Cole Palmer is now not 150 million. You are talking, I reckon, slash 50% off that. I reckon you are talking somewhere between 75 to 90 million pounds. Cole Palmer, for those people who want him, this could be a perfect storm. Okay, last week, 150 million for Cole Palmer, 300k a week in pay, right? Today is not. Perfect storm. Look, if we were a serious club, we would be knocking down the Chelsea door and just knock down that door today. Offer them 80 million. Don't piss around. Offer them that money and just go and get the deal done. Didn't they buy him for 40? I think they bought him for like 42 million, something along those lines. But look, or could he be 60? I don't know actually. But look, Cole Palmer, the deal is there to be done. The deal is there to be done. Go and do that deal. Norm says, do I want Carrick? I will bring this into tonight's show as well, and we can talk about that tonight. 20 million, and we can return Mason Mount. I love it. Yeah, no, they can have Mason Mount for free. So it would be like 11. You know, and look, we should be doing to Chelsea what Chelsea do to us. That is what we should be doing to them. Carrick, I will bring Carrick into tonight's show. We can talk about that tonight. But do I want Carrick? I think it's more of a complex answer than a yes and a no. I think for me, I want to wait till the end of the season to have that debate. But there is no denying from me, I like Carrick. I don't know if he's got the tactics yet. But the one thing I'm going to say this, and it's going to be the same no matter what coach that we get, this club cannot let Carrick down. If this club decide to hire him, it can't be because he's cheap. They've got to hire him thinking that he is the best. Even if he's not, they have to believe he is, and they have to go and back this manager. So that is where I am. So look, guys, I will be back this evening about 10 o'clock. I'll put up a show, and we'll go through that tonight. I'll be doing a late show. The late shows are typical of we'll basically round up the last week, and we'll talk about all that good stuff. And it's just a kind of open show. It is kind of your show, and yeah, anything goes pretty much. But look, guys, thank you for being here. You guys are legends. Look, I can't thank you guys enough for the support that you bring to the channel. The channel doesn't exist without. Yes, you are top of the league. And look, guys, I will see you this evening at some point. I will put up a show so you'll be able to see it. And yeah, look, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Sky is in the house, I promise you. I wasn't being rude, and hopefully you're home, Sky, and hopefully you're doing better as well. But look, have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I'm JB. This is the United the Devil channel, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care.